I love to fly up in the sky. Through the clouds I reach so high, climbing up to touch the light. Adventure calls me day and night. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. The stars above begin to shine, painting trails so bright and fine. Every turn brings something new, endless skies in brilliant blue. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the drum's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soared into the light.
And here we are. I thought this day, some airplane just popped in. I thought this day would never come, to be honest. So, iFly is one of my all-time favorite developers because they developed back in the day the beautiful Boeing 737NG. They were quite a good contender for the role of best developer, right? Challenging PMDG back in the day. Hello Mirsha and hello Andrew, welcome. So, like I said, iFly were great developers back in the day, and I loved their iFly 737NG. And as soon as I heard they were developing the MAX, I really was very curious to see it in action. Unfortunately, it took them some time to bring it to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and it's still not perfect. So a lot of the stuff you'll see today are what I would call growth pains, because this is a very complex plane, very complex simulator, and a lot of stuff you'll see is still work in progress. And actually, when Flight 1 gave me access to the plane, and they were kind enough, and I'll talk about it in a moment, they told me, well, maybe you should wait for the next update coming for the plane because there are a lot of features missing. But I said, let me learn the plane, let me figure it out, and I'll make a conscious review. So today is more like a first encounter with this amazing plane. And of course, like we did with the Inabuilt's A340, we're not expecting perfection here, but I will give you my point of view. I will give you my, well, look at that. Nice. This is the anti-skid, anti-tail strike skid. That's what I meant. It's a feature available, I believe, in most, if not all, 737 MAXs. And it's a weird-looking device, but that prevents any eventual tail strike to reach the fuselage and damage the plane. Pretty neat. So it's like they're expecting the pilots to hit the floor, the ground. It's pretty cool. So like I was saying, this is more like an initial contact with this plane, and let me tell you, I've been flying it for a few days now because I wanted to prepare this and be on alert. I wanted to learn how the plane flies, and I really wanted not to be surprised with anything weird. Um, Not from the plane itself. Sorry, not from the module, the product itself, but from the plane. This is a very weird plane developed by Boeing. We'll talk about its history, and it's a very unfortunate history for Boeing. And a lot of stuff is hanging right now because of this plane for Boeing, Boeing's future. We'll talk about a little bit. I'm not going to discuss politics or anything of the sort, just really bringing back the history of the 737, which is a very dear airplane for me. I now fly Airbuses most of the time, but let me tell you, I have more flight hours on Boeing than on Airbus overall, especially on the 737. So this is a very special day for me, and I hope that you guys can enjoy it as much as I will for sure. So let's go inside and let's begin the preparations. All right. I got a few centuries that Meg was flying or made for Blue Air Romania, who now is bankrupt. Well, a lot of airlines take over airplanes, right? When companies go bankrupt. So that's actually a good thing if you ask me, because it keeps the planes in the sky, right? So here we are. This is the LOT Polish Airlines 737. I was planning to do this flight in Ryanair livery, but I think LOT is more appropriate to go to its nation. So when it comes to the 737, if you guys aren't aware, this is one of the oldest logics of brand new airplanes developed by Boeing. What do I mean with that? The 737 MAX was designed to be an innovation, but it was also designed, and I think that's its greatest failure in my opinion, to have minimal cross training between variants. So the idea was that the 737 MAX will be modernized just enough for pilots to have minimal conversion to the 737 MAX. That means that a lot of things are familiar. A lot of stuff is positioned exactly like in a regular 737 NG, but what was possible to innovate, they did. So without further ado, let's start our pre-flight checks and start loading. Yeah, no Betsy, once more, but we do have these beautiful lambskin seats, but no Betsy. Lambskin seats, by the way, are a hallmark for Boeing, so not a lot of planes these days are designed with lambskin, which is a shame, to be honest, because it's very comfortable. I don't know if you guys ever sat on one. It's very, very comfortable. So let's start. So power, okay, pre-flight checklist, parking brake is set. Little knob here, raised, battery switch on. Let's turn on the battery and let's get this plane to life. There it is. So this overhead panel did not change by much. There are some minor differences. We'll go through them, some of them, and you'll see what I mean. So battery switch on and covered, ground power connected. It's not yet connected, so we're going to request ground power. How do we do that? Well, we go this rudimentary thing here. I honestly think that of all the updates that iFly intends to make on this plane, this is the thing they need to update. This is the electronic flight bag, but this is a 1990s electronic flight bag. This is very archaic. Nobody uses anymore. And I honestly believe Boeing had this implemented on early Maxes. But ever since, airlines have replaced this with the proper, and not just Maxes, but 777s as well. But airlines are now slowly replacing these with proper EFBs, electronic flight bags. So let's connect ground power. So send menu, ground support, and let's connect electric power right here. Bammo. As for interactions on the exterior of the aircraft, you saw that I was outside, but there was no interaction, no panels to interact with, so no point in doing that. So no lights, doesn't light up. Oh, we need to set. Sorry about that. Now we have external power. Here we go, starting up. Major difference between the NGs, of course, are these 4 big screens replacing the 6 CRTs and TFTs on the earlier generation. So there will be 1 PFD, 1 ND, 2 HECAS screens on the center, and 2 more screens for PFD and ND for the pilot co-pilot side. That's been replaced by these 4 large screens. As you can see, the lower ECAM or ECAS, sorry, ECAM is Boeing, Airbus. So the lower ECAS has received a lot of the instruments that will be up here, and the 2 MFDs or 2 MCPs are still here, so FMCs, sorry. So let's light up the panel. It's a bit dark here now. Also, and on this side as well. Just lighting it up enough, oops, sorry. Just lighting it up enough to make it as bright as possible. Same here. So I like to boost the backlight on my panels. This can be switched on. This is the emergency exit lights. Overhead panel right here. And the circuit breaker will just light it up enough to the circuit breakers are illuminated by these projected lights here, so they don't have backlight per se. So ground power connected and non-IRS selectors. Let's go. This airplane only has 2 IRSs, unlike the Airbus family plane. So we just set it to nav and nav, and wait on DC, and then the line. These on DC lights should light off. There we go. Cabin utility. Let's turn power back there, as well as IFE passengers. Emergency lights have been armed previously. Logo lights to on. Position lights to steady. Sorry, it's strobe and steady. Window heat. So these little knobs here, they always turn on regardless if you have icing or not. So trimmer, there it is. It's already on, set. Recycling fan to auto. These are all going to be set to auto anyway, but there they are, both left and right. Isolation valve to open. Where's the isolation? There it is. It's already on open. Pressurization panel set to auto. So this is very important. I'll explain why it's important. There it is. It has 3 positions: auto, alternate, and manual. It needs to be on auto, and I'll talk about it in flight. Fuel pump forward to 1 to on. So this is to feed the APU. Altimeters. Let's listen to the ATIS so we can get proper altimeters.
Airport information X-ray 1845 Zulu, wind 220 visibility 10 miles or more, ceiling 3500 broken, temperature 13, 2.11, QNH 1033, landing runway
1033,
25 left, departing runways 18, 25 center, transition level 050, temporary flight restrictions are in effect for Frankfurt Main, advise on initial contact you have information X-ray.
X-ray, got it. 1033.
X-ray 1845 Zulu, wind 2203, visibility 10 miles or more, ceiling 3005.
So we definitely don't have CPDLC on this plane, so we'll set our clearance by voice. So we got it, transponders set to alternate off. Where is my transponder? There it is. So it's set to off, alternate off. There it is. It's this knob here. So off, set. Flight directors to on, both of them. So left and right. Here they are. Actually, we need to do this because now that one was master. Now this one's master. FMC. Let's set up our FMC now. Our integration with Simbrief is not perfect. So there's no ACARs, so we can't really load most of the stuff we do on the Airbus. A lot of this stuff is not functioning, which is unfortunate. But like I said, this plane is going to be updated eventually. So let's set our IRS position. So we are on our airport. Oh, where's the backlight on this? What am I missing on the backlight here? Oh, this is it. Can almost see nothing on that FMC. Now we're cooking. So we are EDDF. Whoops, EDDF, and we are on gate. Tell me the gate. A24. All right. Still, we also have our GPS connect, our GPS data right there. So November 50 02.7 and echo blah blah blah. So that's the coordinates. I could input them by hand, but I needed to, do it by hand while the gate itself has the coordinates on the database. So here we go. We just copy this to the scratch pad and into the set IRS position. All right. You don't have to do any of that on the Airbus, by the way. So it's automatically done. You just need to tell it to align IRSs, and the airplane itself will align with the previous data. So as long as the plane isn't moved from gate to gate, it's all right. And even if it is, the ADIRs cannot align with GPS, something that this plane more or less can't do. It does use GPS, but it's mainly INS data as initialization. So altimeter set, transponder set, flight directors set, FMC is going to be set up now, so we're going to request a flight plan. This is the only thing that actually works well as far as I could test in terms of data link. Takes a moment. So route 1 data link uplink ready, so we load it. This is not the flight plan yet. There it is. So Echo Delta Delta Fox to Echo Papa Whiskey Alpha. So this is correct. We're going to insert our flight number, and for that we're going to reach out to our OFP. So let's initialize the flight. And I don't remember where that is, to be honest. This is a very confusing EFB, to be honest. But we'll go through this in a moment. This is yet another complication in my opinion. I don't think we can load the OFB, but we can do it elsewhere. We can load it through here. So we can view our flight plan. There it is. So let's fill in the data here. So we got lot, never mind the 0. Remember that 0 there is Simbrief inserting that doesn't exist for some reason. You should, if you look at that and you see a 0, just come down here and confirm it. This is the correct call sign. So it's LOT 776. Oops, there was something written there already. LOT 776. Into the flight number, done. Now, in order to make the flight plan inserted on the route, so if you come here to legs, you already see it there, but now you need to activate it. So as of now, this flight plan is just loaded but not active, so we need to activate. This is different, a lot different from the Airbus logic. We'll go back to the departure because there's a dedicated page for that. We'll go back to that. So the MCP, we need to first of all make our estimated calculations. First of all, let's load GSX because it's going to take their sweet time as always. So request boarding. Let's go wait for port. Alright, the gate is moving. You can see the passengers over there. It's pretty cool. Actually, this VDGS has a lot of info, as you can see. The chalk on and then it's going to give me a lot of info. So chocks are off, GPU is off, PBB is off. Don't know why. Probably because, and this little panel here is offset for some reason. No, the everything it said it's off, the GPU is on. So
Honda 2288 Heavy, ready for airways to Johannesburg.
you like Betsy, Andrew? Well, I would love her to have her today, but iFly guys didn't want to model the co-pilot, so. Alright, so we cannot arm, although it's in the checklist, we need to first implement our performance, and for that, we're going to need to go to the performance. So we are going to copy FMC data, so we are going to take off from runway. Where is it? Where's the routing? So there it is. No, that's not it. There it is. So runway 25 Charlie, so that's 25 center, and it's going to be a dry runway. So we're going to take off with flaps 5, config aircraft, so air conditioning, no NTIs, and everything's set up. So the wind, this is the latest METAR. Let's calculate it. Oh, first we need to go to weight and balance. So this is the tricky part, because this FMC is a little off, in my humble opinion, because you need to insert this data by hand. So like the fuel needs to be inserted by hand. You should have like you can read the initial data, but if you don't follow the correct cargo and passengers, it's going to be a mess. So I'm going to compare it with my data here. So my passenger count will be, where is that? 140. So let's see, total passengers is 116, so it's not correct. And you are hearing GSX loading passengers, so it's not a passenger loading issue. So what I do is I'm going to insert 140, whoops, 140, and hopefully it will like readjust this data. Cargo, yeah, the cargo is not correct either, but we'll leave it at that for now, because I need to compare with the data from Simbrief. I'm pretty sure the payload is more than that, so it says it's so it's divided in two, which is a pain in the rear end, because you need to make some head calculations, but it's about 9,000 kilograms, and as you can see, the payload should be 14. So yeah, so there's some discrepancies. We'll wait for the loading to be completed by GSX, and we'll read MFS data. But as you can see, if I press it, and you can hear the cargo and the passengers being loaded, but nothing is really happening in terms of updating the weights. But we can do the fuel. So the fuel should be the block fuel 6.7. So let's do that. So 6 point, sorry. So the planned fuel trip should be, with the alternates, it's going to be 6,530, and the taxi out fuel should be so the taxi fuel should be 191 kilograms. So 191, and this should give us the final weight However, I sometimes move away from that page, and when I return, the fuel will not be correctly set. So it's I don't know. So let's just set the payload for now, set the fuel as well, and we should have like the correct fuel for now. It's a little off, especially the cargo, but we will update this in a moment. I need to divide 14,600 kilograms. Sorry, this is the payload for, so it needs to be 2,223 for baggage. Yeah, this is not easy to do, not like this. And here it says it's 140 passengers. But see, it reset to 116. I don't know why. It does that. Let's go 140. And now set payload. Did it? I think it did. All right. But not the cargo. So the cargo should be something like, so this is the weight of the passenger. The payload is the weight of the passengers plus cargo and baggage. So even the load sheet here is not complete. We need to go back here, down here, and take a look at what data we have. To be honest, this is over encumbering. The pilots would get the exact information to input here. It's not like you need to make head calculations to insert. Plus, I'm a bit bad with maths, so I really wanted, so the total payload is 14.6. This includes, oh no, it's 2.2, so I need to divide 2.2. That's easy, 1.1 on each, right? So let's do 1,100 on each. The plane is going to be kind of light, not, which is nice. All right. Yeah. And you don't really do things like this. You need to CG the plane, so this is not the way to do things, to be honest. But it is what it is. At least we got the correct passengers. The cargo weight, apparently it's 2.2 like it says here, and the fuel. The fuel is much more important. So the planned trip fuel and taxi out fuel, that's way more important. So that's done. So hopefully this is all done. Don't need to return here. So back to the performance, and now we can make our calculations, I suppose. Where do I go back to? Complete. All right. Now we can calculate stuff. There it is. So the takeoff weight, it's high. See, takeoff weight should be 66.2. Currently 70.3. Why? Beats me. It really does beat me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but it is what it is. The only thing I believe you can transfer to your FMC here now is this performance we just calculated. Yeah, Mirsha, I like Betsy too, but it is what it is. So performance in VNav unavailable, but we'll get to that. So here we go. So let's press this button here to add that 70.6, a bit higher than what we were intending. As for reserves, I'm going to insert what's in the flight plan. So reserve fuel should be FinRes plus alternate. It's going to be 2.4. Bit too much, but it's necessary for the alternate, and that's it. And one limitation, now we got our data from the FMC, so we are going to do flap 5 V1 139. So we're going to need an outside temperature 46 for the derated takeoff, 46 degrees. So we're basically fooling the plane to believe it's 46 degrees outside. This will save fuel and thrust, so it's going to set both engines on 85% instead of 100% for takeoff. We got a derated takeoff of, so the VREF, this is for landing. Where's the doesn't say, does it? But it is a derated takeoff. It's a TO1, so let's leave it at TO1, TO0. All right, fine. And now let's hit the flaps 5 and the V1, VR, and V2 are all transferred from our calculations over there. So like I said, this is the only thing that transfers from the calculation, from the calculator. 19.1 CG, this will give us a 5.8, 5.9 trim. So let's set that up. So that's more or less there already. You can see here on this little analog knob. So this is the 6 mark, so it's right over there. It's not really there, but you can't really tell, by the way, because this is all analog, but it is there because once you insert here, it will move there. Let's go for the departure, and now we're going to call for our departure guys to tell us where we are going. So we believe it's 25 Charlie,
Condor 2282 heavy.
and it's going to be towback 3 Golf, but it's prone to change.
Heavy, Frankfurt delivery, expect runway 18 Nikki 2 Lima departure, initial
Towback
060,
3 Golf, here we go. So
3431.
runway isn't.
2 Lima departure. Squawk 3431. Condor
What's going on
2282
with
heavy.
my position?
Heavy, read back correct. Contact ground 121.855 when ready for push or start.
All right. So let's insert execute.
55 when ready. Condor 2282 heavy. Bye bye.
Oh, I get it. The runway is just too big. Yeah, that's it. All right. So now we can arm LNAV and VNAV. There you go. Although we're not going to use that now. So we have passengers already loaded in. So let's load our APU. Let's start our APU. Now this is the part that bugs me. You see here? There's a gauge missing here. On the 737 up to the NG family, we have a APU, so like an indication of APU being powered. Now we don't have that. Why? It's -1 gauge on the overhead, I suppose. We need to come down here to our actually, no, where is that? We don't have any indication, do we? I don't think we have any indication right here. Which is weird, very weird. Alright, so no indication. We need to put this on auto before we mess anything more. Yeah, well, it's weird. So the idea is you don't know when the APU has started until you get that blue light of APU available. And I think that bothers me a lot, because I remember watching the APU coming up, and you do need to shut down the APU if it overheats. We don't have anything of the sort right now. I suppose at one point they made it automatic some way, somehow. Don't know, but it bugs me a lot. So oxygen, let's test. This is something only the Boeings these days will do. So we press, oops, no. We should press and get flow here. Ah, there it is. All right, so tested. Copilot is testing. And as soon as we got APU available, we'll set the generate. There it is. APU is generating, and the bleed. Let's turn on the bleed. So pre-flight checklist complete. Let's call our clearance now.
Lot 776 AFR to Oxy.
Lot 776, Frankfurt delivery. Expect runway 25 center Tobacco Golf departure. Squawk 1000.
Wow,
Tree Golf departure. Squawk 1000.
that's
Lot
one
776.
off squawk code.
6 read correct. Contact ground 121.855 when ready for push or start.
Set to
Ground
TRRA.
551 ready. Lot 776, bye bye.
So before start checklist, current power disconnected and off. It's disconnected. Let's turn it off on the electronic flight because I had a funky error System page, some menu, ground support, disconnect, set.
Ocean 136 Heavy, gate
All right,
2169 request
and chocks, we'll remove them in a moment. Flight deck doors
apron, pushback approved. Face south.
closed. Oh, look at that.
Pushback and
Got a,
engine start approved.
what
Face
looks
south,
like a
Ocean
mirror.
136 Heavy.
Doors that are closed. It's a funky cockpit this. Yaw damper on, although it's going to stay low pressure on both systems. Probe heat on and on. Hydraulic pumps to on, being the electric to hydraulic pumps. Fuel pumps all to on. Do we have center tank fed? Yep, we do have center tank, so we're going to turn on the center fuel pumps. Passenger signs, very, very archaic. Where are they? Right here. No smoking, very archaic. Let's call our flight attendants, saying that we are going to start our engines. Anti-collision lights on. Packs 2 to auto. Actually to off, because we're going to start engines. Engine start, let's do it. So before that, we're going to request our push. So GSX first. You know the drill. Prepare for push and departure. Where's our... There it is. Oh, it just materialized out of the window.
Ocean 136 Heavy, request taxi.
Alright.
Ocean 136 Heavy, runway 25 center taxi via November 1 Lima.
This is non-functional for some reason.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
November 1 Lima, treat Ocean 136 Heavy.
So yeah, this is a very complex plane. We are somewhere over here on this gate. Up here. So we are on Alpha.
Departure check completed. Pipe has been inserted.
So we're going to take off from this runway right here, 25 Charlie. So we're going to depart. What's going on? What's the issue? There was some issue here. You heard it.
Locking gear.
The doors are still open? No, they're not. What is it saying? Alright, so this EFB is a bit useless, to be honest, but I'm sure they are gonna make good use of it in the future. Now, one major feature missing, and I really hate when this happens, is we do not have, unfortunately, a weather radar. You know how I'm a sucker for weather radars, and it bugs me whenever I can't use it. So let's request push and start.
136 Heavy, contact Frankfurt Tower 118.78, bye-bye. Contact Tower 118.78, Ocean 136 Heavy.
Shut up.
Lot 776 at Gate Alpha 24 request pushback.
Lot 776, Frankfurt apron, pushback approved, face southwest.
Pushback and engine start approved, face southwest. Lot 776.
Release parking brakes.
Funny thing about the parking brakes on a 37, you need to hit the brakes with your pedal brakes.
Commencing push.
Yeah, go figure. Alright, we don't have startup authorized. We need to push back first, and then it will tell us to clear for start. Frankfurt, I've been in, not in Frankfurt, I've been in Berlin. Every German airport I've been to is like, you would expect to be very tidy and very clean. I was very surprised to see how German efficiency doesn't work here. Not in Frankfurt, but in Berlin. So we still don't have... What the heck's going on? What is this weird haze? You see that? Is that the tug? Could be the tug exhaust, but it looks weird. There's a Brussels, or like my good friend Flip would say, Brussels. We love you, Flip. Alright, some plane just arrived there. There's an A220 from Swiss. Alright, can I start my engines now? So we got air conditioning warning, that's expected. We're probably going to be taken to another area where we can start our engines safely. So we are probably going to be taken all the way somewhere over here. That's like a procedure.
Clear to start engines.
Alright, clear to start engine. So the first thing we do is
Set parking brakes.
we go to ground. So to set the parking brakes, you brake with your main pedals and then pull this lever here.
Waiting your confirmation for good engine start.
Before start checklist, ground power has been disconnected, chocks have been removed, flight deck doors closed, yaw dampers on, probe heat, hydraulic pumps on, fuel pumps on, passenger signs auto on, the collision lights on, packs left and right to off, engine start. Number 2, then number 1, but we're following the most recent European. So this is the LEAP engine motoring. So like I said, we are starting number 1 because we're following the most recent European rules. So more and more you'll see engine start engine 1 regardless of previous procedures. Maybe not the case in the US, but in Europe you always start number 1 now, left to right. Yeah, this engine takes ages to load because it needs to motor, and you'll see number 2 most likely will have an indication of motoring. So yeah, it needs to go for a moment until it injects fuel. So engine 1 started, you'll see now. Going number 2, you see there will be an indication here, motoring on the EGT. On the N2, sorry. So you see motoring. So now we inject fuel. And it's going to stay like that for a moment. This is not a glitch. This is exactly how the plane behaves in real life. See how long it takes now. The motoring is ended. Well, vaping is as you know, as problematic as smoking cigarettes, but it's a little less polluting, but it's still polluting. We'll talk about why cigarettes are banned from flights and from a lot of places actually. So yeah, see how long it takes to turn these engines on. No wonder they don't do single engine taxi most of the time. It just takes too freaking long to turn these engines on. Right, engine number 2 is Onio. So let's request taxi. First of all, we need to tell these guys to go away.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start.
Before taxi checklist, engine generators both on. NTI is not required. Auto brake to RTO. Flaps set to flaps 5. And flaps 5. Trim is already set. APU to off. Sorry, off is top. APU bleed to off is already off. Packs left and right to auto. Isolation valve to auto. Flight controls will check that in a moment. Ground equipment will check that in a moment.
Tow truck disconnected. Pipe has been removed.
Taxi lights in, runway turn off lights when we start running.
Left is clear, right is clear.
Copy that. Looking for the pin.
3 Lima Juliet, Frankfurt apron, plus taxi
So what do you
engine
guys
start
think? You
approved.
prefer the
Face
old
west.
Lufthansa or the new
Outside
Lufthansa?
approved, face west, Lufthansa
And in
3
the new
Lima Juliet.
Lufthansa, do you prefer the blue Lufthansa or the black Lufthansa? You know what? I prefer the old one. There's our pin. Let's call request taxi to the runner.
776 ready to taxi to the active.
Lot 776, runway 25 center taxi via November 7 Lima, Lima 3.
Runway 25 center taxi via November 7 Lima, Lima 3 lot 776.
Alright, so we got the clearance, but now we have a plane pushing back, so we're gonna need to wait for that. We already have our lights on, so we can go to our sys page and test our flight control. So full left. Doesn't go full for some reason. Full left. Full right. Pull up, push down. Full rudder left. Full rudder right. Something fishy about these, doesn't seem to go all the way left and right, but this could be a ground limitation. Flight controls checked. Taxi lights are on. Ground equipment is clear. Runway turn-off lights are on before taxi checklist complete. Is the plane gone now? No, it's still there. ATC should tell us to hold position, but
Lufthansa 3 Lima Juliet, request taxi. Lufthansa 3 Lima Juliet, runway 25 center taxi via November 7 Lima, Lima 3.
pretty much what we got.
Taxi via November 7 Lima, Lima 3 Lufthansa 3 Lima Juliet.
So we might as well just follow it. There you go.
All aircraft be advised to information Zulu now current, QNH 1033.
It's taxi for the active now. You will see that the plane is very smooth, so it's always like a smoothness to it that's very soothing. It's always been like this in the old planes from Boeing. So I'm not turning on weather radar. I'm just turning on the TFC, so the traffic information. Oh, awfully fast here. And another thing I love about this plane is that it works and flies like a rocket ship, like a hot rod, like I say in the description. It is really like a hot rod. It's an amazing plane to fly. It's a pilot's plane, to be honest. So I am just following this guy because he's going to the same taxiways as I am. And it's normal to feel like the plane's going too fast because you're lower to the ground than on an Airbus. And the difference is quite substantial. So we probably had a slot before this Airbus from Lufthansa.
776, hold position for traffic. I'll call you back.
Hold
position for traffic.
position.
776.
Let's hold position here. Do we have other traffic coming in? Oh, what happened here? Did we go over? No, no one's here. It's probably just giving us a separation from the plane up ahead, but it's not necessary, I suppose. There's an airplane landing on probably 25 right. You can see that 25 right is right here. So it's a weird runway somewhere over there. So at this point, I'll just pull the parking brakes. If this happens to you, you pull the parking brake and it goes back forth, it's because you're not pressing the toe brakes correctly. We're still holding. In terms of cockpit modeling, it looks amazing, doesn't it? I mean, there's some things here. Does this work? No, it doesn't work. So this is the escape rope. You would open this window here, pull the rope. There's also another rope there. Does the window open? Oh yeah, they do. Look at that. It's just an animation though.
Lufthansa 3 Lima Juliet. Contact Frankfurt Tower 118.78. Contact Tower 118.78 Lufthansa 3 Lima Juliet. Have a good evening.
Can I park now? Taxi? Yeah, sometimes there's no other traffic.
Lot 776, continue taxi.
Alright, thank you now.
Continue taxi, lot 776.
Betsy's with us, at least in spirit, because she's the one handling the comms. She's not here physically though. So for those that don't know, Betsy's my beloved co-pilot. She's a bit autistic because she doesn't talk to me, she doesn't react to me, but sometimes she sits on the co-pilot seat, other times she just lends her voice. In any case, we all love her. It's like that love-hate relationship, uncorresponded love. So we don't have an ET clock, elapsed time clock, at least not one I can see. We only have the normal clock here, so we'll launch the clock once we take off. A lot of things we are missing. Even on the 777, a lot of things have been implemented that make the pilot's lives easier. So it's not a Boeing thing. It's just that this plane is, the initial design of this plane is just so old. And Boeing really wanted the pilots to feel at home when coming up to the MAX. So yeah, Mirsha, really cool details, although some are missing. I mean, we already talked about the electronic flight bag. It's not great, could be better, but at the same time just got distracted there. At the same time, we gotta appreciate the little details. The lighting is superb, really cool. If I know iFly, I know it takes some time for them to get to that level you're expecting, but they will get there. So let's take a look here at our airport map. Are we supposed to turn somewhere over here? No, we need to go all the way to the end and then turn into the taxiway. All right. If you think this taxiway is long, I once spent 25 minutes taxiing in Schiphol, Amsterdam, in real life. It was a pain. I actually saw a traffic jam of planes. Such a busy airport Schiphol is. Let's turn on our VSD. It's another issue here is this runway data here. Not entirely sure why this shows up here. I bet it's something that I'm not programming correctly. So we should turn somewhere. Yep. Right there. We could go all the way to the bottom here. So let's go to the bottom and let's perform our before takeoff checklists, because that's what our holding point was saying. Well, there's a plane incoming, so we're probably not even going to be clear. So let's wait here on the holding point, which is right here. So you see it's slanted because the runway is right over there. So let's set our parking brakes there. Let's go for the before takeoff checklist. So parking brake set, also throttle set to arm. There, done. Takeoff data V1. Oh, need to lower the. So let's go out to our performance. V1 139 knots, VR 141, V2 152 set. Terrain or weather display. Well, we don't have weather, but we'll set on weather and terrain on this side. And we got landing lights. Let's wait for the clearance. Not yet, but we can turn off our taxi lights for now. Taxi lights off. The runway turn off is remain on. Transponder to TRA, already done that, and the clock will start once we go on a takeoff run. Let's request our departure now.
776, ready to go, runway 25 center.
Lot 776, Frankfurt Tower.
Nice.
1205, runway 25 center, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 25 center, cleared for takeoff, lot 776.
Here we go. So this goes to strobe and steady. Let's go to on, not flashing. Alright, we're making a rolling takeoff apparently. Here we go. Quite a different procedure on the 737, so we move it to 50% and then press the little buttons here, called the toga buttons. Here you go. $80 knots. Should have set our speed there, speed bug. V1.
V1.
Rotate. And it's airborne. Positive rate, gear up. This sound you're hearing is my trim wheel rolling. Let's set our thrust to continue our climb here. Let's follow our flight path.
Lot 776, contact landing radar 120.155.
And one set.
Contact landing radar 120.155, lot 776.
Nose down, accelerating.
Landing radar, lot 776.
Speed check, flaps 1.
300 feet.
Lot 776, landing radar identified. Climb to flight level 180.
180.
Flight level 180, lot 776.
Speed check, flaps 1. Flex up, I mean. Autopilot engaged. Set to flight level 180. Oops. There. Oh. Quite finicky. Nice, Mirsha. Rolling takeoffs are always cool. We're not waiting for nobody. Well, this is Germany. Take a good look, because next we'll see Poland. Let's go through our charts here. So we're following, where are we? We're going to tab 2 Golf, if I'm not mistaken. So this is departure. Next page. I believe it's 3 Golf. Toe back 3 Golf. No? So 3 Kilo probably? Yeah, it's not a good way to load charts. I should have done that before, so apologies. No, that's not the correct one, but we'll get to tape them anyway. Let's go to our standard altitude and cross-check. After takeoff checklist, positive rate of climb, gear up. Oh, sorry. That's the takeoff procedure. Flaps retracted on schedule. Autopilot has been engaged. Climb to altimeter passing 10,000 feet. Set standard check. Landing lights off. After 10,000 feet. Off, runway turn off, lights off, and after takeoff checklist complete.
Launching radar, B163 Moscow, 1,900 feet.
Let's turn off our track IR to make it more comfortable.
Identified. Climb to flight level 110.
Climb to flight level 110, B163 Moscow.
So it still says runway data. I'm not sure why, but this is something I need to take a good look at, and that's the pressurization panel. So we're seeing that we are being pressurized. The cabin, the valve is open, the cabin is flowing. And I'll explain, well, the trimmer is rolling, as you can see. I'll explain later why this is so important. So let's move our flight plan here. Well, that took your sweet time to get the flaps to get your trim to 5 degrees, not flaps. So we're getting to flight level 180. We're probably going to get another clearance. So still going to flight level 180. Nothing's been told to us yet.
Lot 776, contact landing radar 127.6. Center on 127.6, lot 776. Landing radar, lot 776, good evening. To flight level 155 for flight level 180.
Yeah, it's a short flight. It's a short flight. I didn't want to make it too long. Alright, they're still not replying to us yet. Let's see, probably now. That's the 1,000 to go call. Come on, give us another altitude. 370, there we go.
Climb to flight level 370, lot 776.
Alright. So the audio panel on this plane is a little different. So we need to press down and actually move the knobs. We'll go through the cabin in a moment, so you can see how the cabin is. I just want to get in a proper climb. Sometimes you hear these voids on the sound. I don't know why this happens. I was told by Flight 1 that I needed to pay attention to the audio on the plane because it was very subtle. And indeed, the audio on this plane is very subtle, very present. But as you can hear, sometimes you get like a void, like the sound. See, this is happening right now. It's the only plane I have that does that, so it's not a me problem, I think. Now, see, rule of thumb on flying any Boeing: always keep your heading with your actual current magnetic heading, so that way you can, in any case, turn off lateral navigation and fly heading and not get out of route if you need to. So out of towback, right there. So this is not exactly the right, so it should be something like this, probably the 3 kilo, but you got the gist. So now we're going to prepare the charts for EPWA. Let's bring out our flight plan here. So we're expecting runway 33 via BIMPA 6 uniform. So let's edit the clip. Arrivals, runway 33. So first of all, we need BIMPA. There it is. BIMPA 6 uniform. So where's 6 uniform? Probably on the next page. BIMPA 6 uniform. And runway 33 for the approach. ILS Yankee Cat 2. Should probably have an X-ray radar. There it is. And a Zulu. There it is. So all three types of approaches complete. So now we're gonna check our approach chart. Pretty standard. So we come out of BIMPA, going directly to Kulu, then Beso, Riso, zoom in, Ripso, all the way to Lembu, passing through these two here. Then we are going to make probably not a holding pattern, but going to make an ILS approach, transitioning via Whiskey Alpha 534 directly to the approach on runway 33, which I believe it's this one here, on to south to north. Nice, nice. So why was I so worried? Oh, meanwhile, let's input this data on the arrival. So it's going to be runway ILS. So I'm always aiming for Zulu, but it's most likely not going to be that. We're going to transition via Whiskey Alpha 534. There it is, the one I was talking about. And oops, let's bring it up. There it is, and it's going to be BIMPA 6 uniform. So for now, that's input. If it's not that, we'll improvise. So again, why was I so worried about the pressurization panel? Because unlike other planes, including the more modern 777 and 787, the older generation of airliners and Boeing airliners all have this manual panel for pressurization. Now it's currently set on auto, which pretty much disables this side here, but basically what this does is, instead of making it automatically pressurizing the plane, you need to come here to man or alternate and just open or close the outflow valve. This is a very tricky thing to do. It only should be done if there's a problem with the pressurization system. Unfortunately, this has already created, let's turn on the wing lights. Unfortunately, this has already created a very serious accident. An Helios Boeing 737NG, so it wasn't a MAX, but a Helios 737NG went to maintenance, and the ground crew, the mechanics, tested this system, and instead of releasing it with position to auto, it was positioned to alternate, or manual. I believe it was in manual mode. I don't recall if there was a malfunction and they forgot to place the knob in to signal the knob or something like that. Whatever happened, the system was not set on auto. And the pilots disregarded that, or they weren't informed. Both of things might have happened. What happened was when they reached and they passed. Why didn't it climb to flight level 370? Because I forgot to arm VNAV. That's why. Little quirks. If you update the MCP on the FCU on an Airbus to the new flight level, you just need to press the button. I pressed the button instead of just resetting VNAV. That's exactly what you should be doing. So, my bad. Anyway, so like I was saying, when they passed 10,000 feet, the Helios flight, they got that bam, 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 bam warning that you usually have when the auto throttle is set without flaps. So it was like a very weird warning they got at 10,000 feet. That shouldn't have happened. That happens on the ground when you try to apply throttle without having flaps on, or something else like having the parking brakes on and try to apply power. It's usually connected with the throttle system. And at 10,000 feet, they got the bam, bam, bam warning, and they didn't know what to do with it. Of course, this lights up the master warning, and they probably had a probably had a pressurization or overhead. Usually, it's this one right here called overhead. This one. And they looked up and they didn't see anything because, you know, the system was set on manual. The warning was set. There's probably a warning light here, but that warning light, I believe, was malfunctioning, so it was not lit up. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, the crash analysis is out there, so if you want to study it, Helios 737 flight case. In any case, the pilots didn't understand it. They called their maintenance guys back in their, I believe they were stationed at Athens, I'm not sure, but they called their station and the guys there was just as confused as they were, but they did give them some something to do to clear that warning. But remember, the plane is climbing and the oxygen is getting lower and lower and lower. So at some point, we don't really know what happened, but at some point the pilots started thinking weird because the lack of oxygen causes a phenomenon called hypoxia. And the first thing that happens, you start losing consciousness very slowly and you start getting delirious. So we don't know what the captain and the co-pilot did, but they certainly didn't handle the situation. They continued to climb, and eventually at some point the oxygen masks dropped. They probably didn't hand the oxygen to themselves, so these masks right here, they should pull these masks to their faces. They didn't do that apparently. At least doesn't appear that they did it. But even if they did, the first thing you need to do in the pressurization issue on board is you don the mask and then you start to send it. They didn't do that. So what happened after a while is that they probably all fainted on board, except apparently for 2 flight attendants, because they have an oxygen. They have 2 oxygen bottles in the back, and those oxygen bottles are good for about an hour of flight duration. But apparently they, oh, I forgot the clock, Mirsha. I forgot the clock. I'm not gonna press it now. It's gonna look bad. So again, the Greek Air Force, of course, called fighter jets, and the fighter jets intercepted the Helios flight, and the pilots on board the F-16 said they still saw someone moving around the cockpit, but after a while they were the person they were watching, at least one person, they were benched over on the cockpit, so they were like fainted on the cockpit, all because the panel was set to manual, and there was no pilot intervention once the system detected a fault, and they did not know how to interpret that. This is something very unique for the 737 and the previous Boeing family planes. I believe that was the first time ever anybody perished because of something like that. And I'm not sure, but I don't think anybody else ever had an accident like that ever again. Nowadays, it's part of the procedures to look at depressurization, and it's part of the memory items as well to confirm the knob is set to auto. So that happens in every single accident in aviation. Whenever there's a serious fatal accident, the aviation world learns in order to prevent it to happen again. So it didn't happen again, fortunately. So the people on Ilias unfortunately lost their lives, but at least they gave their lives so that others wouldn't, and the aviation world learned from that. And nowadays, pressurization on airplanes, modern airplanes, is so different. So there's a lot of redundancies. Everything is automated, not reliant on pilots, and it just works. Yeah, I made a memory item in my head. All right, so I need to press the clock button because I don't have a neat elapsed time clock. It's just my old man head. I'm an old man, Andrew. Is Andrew still there? I'm an old man guy. Old guy. All right, so let's make a little tour over the while we're still climbing. This plane takes a little longer to climb, as you would expect. Engines are a little small, although they're more powerful than the regular 737NG. But let's go back to the cabin, so let's open the door here. So nice little cabin. Let's close the door here. So this is the loo for anybody interested in going on the loo. You can flush, you can even open the flush. Alright, there's a mirror, but look at that. Ooh, I'm a ghost, I'm a vampire. It's a nice feature, don't you think? It looks like a mirror, but I bet, no, it's actually an actual mirror. It's an actually texture of a mirror. How about that? So cool. Although we're vampires and we can see our reflections. I should have gone to Romania. That would be cool. Fitting. So this is the door. The door is animated. I'm not going to open it now. A lot of these things never get animated, and it would be fun. I have a plane. I can't talk about it, but I have a plane where the microwave, the plane has a microwave. Ground service. The plane has a little microwave, and you can open and close the microwave, and they actually go blink. Can't say what plane it is because I'm still testing it, but one day I'll show it to you. So this is the business class, probably. I don't think this plane has a first class. Very sleek with lot symbols on the seats. Really cool. No passengers. So GSX lately has been having some issues with passenger depiction because of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 LOD definition. So initially you should be able to see the passengers only when the cockpit door would open. So that was like a trigger. But for some reason now the passengers just disappear when in flight, and I'm not sure if they come up again, because sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. This happens in a lot of planes, not just in the 737 MAX. But look at this. I'm gonna close this for you guys to appreciate. Look at this cabin, really cool, very detailed with the lot symbols. I also have the Ryanair texture, and let me tell you, it's brilliant. There's a lot of things. So this is animated, pretty cool. This is actually you can select these to be operated manually. So did you see this one closing? So the shades will close. You see that? the shades will close randomly, and if flying in a certain latitude, I think, or at night, they completely close, or some of them do. So back to the back galley. Look at this, beautiful. I was pressing the crew screen and it's not working, but there was a little hand there, so probably the intention's to make it work, but just not yet. Another loo, just in case the main one is occupied, you can come back here. There's even a little kids bench here, diaper change. Again, that weirdly looking but amazing mirror. Does this work? No. Water work? No. Nothing else works. Just the diaper change and of course the loo itself. That was the loo review. Alright, does the jump seat open? No, they do not. Oh, hold on. No, they don't. It's probably, yeah, that's the toilet seat. Again, the door will open from the inside, but let's not press that unless we want a para-jump. Actually, if we did open the door now, they're armed, so this would trigger the what's it called? Oh my god, the inflatable emergency ramp. Could you call it a ramp? I'm sure there's a technical name for that. So yeah, this is, I believe, the Lot Airways magazine, Kaleidoscope. So pretty nice features. Even have the chair controls modeled in, really cool. I mean, a lot of things in the, so look at the, oh my god, you can open the baggage compartment. How about that? So cool. Can we drop it? We can drop the table. Look at that. Look at that. You might say, this is so pointless. Yeah, it is pointless. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of people that like to sit back here, especially during long flights. Builds also build some of these small features into their planes, and nobody complains. I believe there's a market for this, and I believe iFly did the right thing. Look at that. You can close the curtain. You can actually sit on one of these seats. And can we, whoops. I think I made a poo-poo here. Am I stuck? I think I'm stuck. I can only move forward, so I'm probably stuck. No, now I can move back again. Yeah, alright, so there are people that wouldn't mind sitting here and just, you know, watch a movie while in flight. Close the lids completely. So, unfortunately, the lights don't dim because that panel up ahead is not working. But can you imagine if everything back here worked and you can actually replicate? Where are the screens for these guys? So these guys have screens. What about these front guys? No screen? Weird. Weird. These panels don't open. Jump seat. Does the jump seat operate? No, it's just a toilet seat again on the back. It's like, yeah. This panel doesn't work, which is a shame. There's a lot of things we could control, especially when it comes to lighting. It's a little bit too bright. I'm going back to the cockpit because I just pressed the button. I hope I didn't mess my flight here. No, apparently so. Everything's fine. Fine and dandy. Even the... Oh, the passengers are back. See? It's a bug. They disappear. See? You can only see them when... Oh no, they're back. So there's issues here. So hello? Thank you for flying. You guys don't deserve to see the cockpit, sorry. You didn't pay the full price. Yeah, your hair looks good, sir. Please don't use your phone. Can't get a signal anyway. So you can remove your jacket if you want. It's not polar cold here. What are you looking at in that phone, huh? You look very suspicious there, lady. Yeah, just an update. Unfortunately, there will be no meals on this flight. Yeah, sorry about that. So there's no flight attendants. Yeah. So enjoy. Bye. I was joking. You guys. Whoa. There's some glitches here. GSX. You need to handle this. So no flight attendants. They usually sit here, but no flight attendants. So yeah, no. I can serve you some coffee if you want. Anybody for an espresso? Nah, these guys hate me. Probably relatives to Betty. Not Betty, Betsy. So, okay. So, back to the cockpit. Let's see. What interactions do we have here? So, probably this light will turn on. Yeah, look at that. Nice. And you can actually move the light. Nice touches. Look at that. Pretty cool. We also have an oxygen panel here for the jump seat. Does the jump seat set up? This is a very funky jump seat. Look at that. Yeah. I've sat on this very same jump seat. There's another one here, but not on the NGs that I flew in. They didn't have this particular jump seat, but they did have this one. It's very funky. I sat on one. It's as uncomfortable as it looks. Yeah. Thank you, Boeing. So the fire extinguisher, of course, will not work. Fortunately for us. It's not a very spacious cockpit, is it? Things have evolved quite a bit over the years in the aviation world. So I was talking about the escape rope. If the pilots find themselves blocked for some reason, let's say there's someone that's trying to come in and they don't want to, you know what I mean? They can easily escape via this window. So they open the window and there's a rope here. It's actually attached to the plane fuselage, and they can, not here, there's the escape rope, and they can rappel down. Nice. This is air recirculation vent, very weird looking. I once assembled a cockpit for a client of mine, and we had to order someone to 3D print this because the client really wanted this, and he actually connected an air conditioning vent here, a real air conditioning vent here, and it was freaking cold. It's very effective. It looks funky, but it's very effective, to be honest. All right, so the cockpit is very well detailed, and you've noticed that it doesn't have weather radar controls here. I mean, it does have. It's this one's WXR right here, but as you can see, they're just dummy. They don't work, unfortunately. I've read on their Discord channel about it, and they have no intentions just yet to develop a functioning weather radar, which is very unfortunate because their claims were the same as PMDG and iFly. So both PMDG and iFly said, we will not model the weather radar on our planes because it's not correct, because Asobo does not develop the API for the weather, and so the weather radar depiction is wrong, blah, blah, blah. I understand all that, but they eventually understood that they had to develop it because it's there. People want it. You might argue if it's not realistic, why would you want it? But still, when there's bad weather, you like to see the magenta areas, you know. And so both Phoenix and iFly, they did develop the weather radar in builds as well. So pretty much the bigger players have developed a weather radar. So I'm really hoping that one day iFly also develops a functioning weather radar for this plane. As for everything else, I don't like the electronic flight bag. I already said as much. I think it's convoluted, it's old. There's a lot more features out there that would be much more required and necessary than what it has. I understand the idea to like make it as realistic as possible. This was the design of the early electronic flight bags Boeing developed for these planes, this and the 777. But once the Dreamliner came in, I think this was slowly abandoned, and the more modern tablet style electronic flight bags were introduced by the airlines. It's just not functional. I mean, you might leave this one here with the performance and all that, but you need to add your own tablet here to make this working with the plane a little less convoluted. And other things that need to be redone are the Simbrief integration. I mean, it's pointless these days to say to not have the Simbrief correctly implemented. It's also pointless not to have the weather radar, like I said. So whatever it is that you want to do with a plane like this, so well developed, so so attend to detail, you really need to cater to your fans, and your fans say, we need a weather radar, we need an electronic flight bag, regardless of what Boeing did with these planes in the in the beginning of it. This is unusable. It really is. So this is the way we cycle our charts. It's fine. I mean, for this particular feature right here, chart visualization, it's okay, but airport map is not working, so don't know why. I think this was developed for Flight Simulator 2020, and it's not correctly working on 2024. Performance and payload, please. I understand this is how Boeing did, but this is not standard to these days. Really isn't. Really needs a review. And as well as the other menus here. By the way, there's a video page so you can see like the cameras in the back. This is where the pilots would see someone knocking on their door. It's a cool feature. It does exist on the real life electronic flight bag, but as you can see, it's just a frozen picture. There's nothing there. So if I open the door or close it, it makes no difference. So it's just for show. As for all these things, ground support and all that, you can easily add like a little plane there, and you can see the electric, the pneumatic, the air conditioning. You can make like the little boxes to connect to it. Again, I understand why they did it, to keep on this format for the FB, but yeah, if there's anything I would change on this plane, definitely the FB, definitely insert the weather radar, definitely review some textures that you don't really need, like this lamp skin. It may be a bit too much. Maybe it's 3D, I understand the idea, but maybe it's a bit too much in terms of FPSs. I mean, I'm not complaining, it looks very fluid. I don't have an FPS counter going, but initially I was when I was testing it, I had about 50-60 FPS. It's not the best FPS in the world, but hey, anything's better than Anybuild's A350. So yeah, that's a very heavy plane, and that's where I get 40, 30, sometimes less than that. On this plane, it's well optimized. Could be better. It's well optimized. The only thing I don't like, it's this void outs on the sound. Like sometimes the sound would go void. Oh, there's another thing. It's not working correctly here. I'll show you. So this is all ground stuff. It's not it. Where is it? It's not here. Oh, system faults. Even if I'm missing something, I probably am. The failures. Where is it? Yeah, I don't see a page to trigger fails, so this is probably a placeholder. because the acknowledge new faults is blanked out anyway. But yeah, the failures are, oh, there they are. Add and clear. All right, sorry about that. I missed this page. So yeah, there's some failures here. So probably move everything to one single place. So people like me that are dumb don't get lost. So airport maps not working. Performance in payload is convoluted. Terminal charts, it's okay, but it could be better. Doesn't do flight following. All of these could be easily solved with a nice EFB digital tablet to fully replace this one, like most airlines have done already. I believe the only airlines that kept this were the cheap ones, like the ones that didn't want to invest on a new system. And I've also heard, I was talking with an American Airlines captain, and he told me he's retired, so he doesn't really fly anymore. But back in the day, they would just buy their own tablets and add the company software, and then eventually the company started. I don't know if American did that, but most airlines around the world started making all-in-one solutions for the pilots. So having like the performance and payload, flight planning, ACAR system all implemented in one single computer, and then eventually over time the tablets took over. So I think that's what happened actually in TAP Portugal. They had these huge computers they would take everywhere with them, and then eventually over time TAP Portugal started purchasing tablets and EFBs for their planes, and so the usage, they still run computers, I believe. I never asked, but back in the day they would just have these huge laptops, work laptops, heavy duty, and eventually that was replaced with tablets. I don't think anybody uses those computers anymore. It's all about tablets. And once you get to the A350 and even the Dreamliner, you notice that the evolution is to have those tablets. The A350 actually has the OIS, so like an integrated tablet system. So that's the future. So these EFBs, outdated. But yeah, I'm not sure what iFly is planning. I actually didn't see what the plans they have, but like I said in the beginning, this is my initial plan to initial contact with the plane, and then I'll make a proper review once they update it correctly to Flight Simulator 2024. But one thing I was talking about, let's see if I can find it. So where do we time accelerate? This is a plus for our streams. Every time we need to time accelerate. So I believe, oh, this is Simbrief. I believe it's somewhere over here. So this is where you change all the, how the autopilot engages and disengages. So there's an alignment, so we set it for realistic, but we can enable the HUD. There's a HUD. The Polish Airlines does not have a HUD. There's also an ice detection probe, everything that's just optional for these planes, really. So the beacon flash rate, everything you can customize the RAS system, of course. So yeah. The RAS system is on by default, so don't need to mess with that. So this is the CDU data, so it's set for Simbrief for the wind data source, so we can request winds aloft. So yeah, so there it is, time acceleration. See, very convoluted, very down the menu, very weirdly located, miscellaneous, come on. And all the other manufacturers or developers, they just add a little page where you can just press time acceleration. Here you understand that you can only go to 2 times, so you can't go 4 times. You press here, select 1 or 2 times, which is weird. Why would you select time compression to 1 time? But anyway, let's go to 2 times and set, and now we're 2 times compression. That will buy us some time. Not by much. We prefer to have 2 times time compression. You can barely notice it. I believe they limit it to 2 times because of the problems the plane would encounter while cruising, for example. Again, this is just speculation. So yeah, amazing graphics. And let's take a look outside. So we're currently in cruise. Let's see where we are. Sorry, it's over here. So we're still flying. No, we're no longer in Germany. I believe we're in Austria now. There's our flight plan loaded. These green blobs are clouds, so if we don't have weather radar, at least we can look at the cloud coverage. These are other planes in our vicinity. One thing that bugged me when I first started flying this plane is, what the hell is this light here? Apparently there's a light right there on the tip of the split scimitar. It looks weird. I mean, it's probably useful on the ground, but why is it still on flying? I've turned off most of the lights, external lights, and it still remains on. So weird. So we're now making a little right turn. So why do I change the map layout here? So map settings, terrain, default. Let's see what the default gives us. Still don't see. I wanted to see the countries, country outlines. Still don't see that. So let's go back to terrain highlight. What is it? What? This is just elevation data. So nice flight information. So no Navigraph integration to speak of. We do have the charts, but that's it. Navigraph integration nowadays includes even weather that you can insert via METAR or online downloaded weather data. Beautiful Milky Way over there. As for the external model, nothing to say, more or less, but I do think these engine nacelles are a bit too large. I think they're a little thinner. So either they've been eating donuts quite a lot on the Boeing factory. I honestly think they should be slightly thinner. But this is just me talking. What do I know? So this is the Polish Airlines lot. You currently can download a lot of different textures, including third-party made textures from Flight Sim.to. I got these very fancy looking Ryanair textures that even have Coca-Cola cans inside. Go figure. An actual Coca-Cola fans, not like fake Coca-Cola. I'll make a flight with that texture in one day and you'll see. So we're past the halfway point, the equal time point. We're still flying directly to Poland, so this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is the last steer point before entering the Polish border, so we're not that far now. We're gonna reach our top of descent anytime over the next 80 miles or so, more or less. Yeah, there it is, top of descent. You can barely see it. Let's zoom in. There it is, above 80 nautical miles right there. So yeah, not long to go now. I don't like to start saying these words because they could be famous last words, but we're going 2 times time accelerated. It's a bit of a shame not be able to accelerate to 4 times, but anyway. Other things I've noticed is that when you turn, if you have rain and you turn on your windshield wipers, the wipers don't wipe anything. In fact, turning them on seems to get things worse. You can barely see outside. So, yeah. Another Polish aircraft. Yeah, Mirsha, a lot was like I was going with Ryanair, but since I got 737 Maxes, why not use them? I kind of like LOT because they're very eclectic with their fleet. So they got like Dreamliners, 737s, and I believe they had the 757 as well. I'm not sure if they still have it. And of course they now fly to Lisbon, so I had to have this texture. So you see, you can hear those sound breaks. This isn't me, it's the plane doing it. Not sure why it does that. Could be a sound issue, fleshed out and probably fixed, but we're still waiting for that big promised update. So guys, if you're willing to help, if you like what you see, and if you're willing to help this channel, on your upper right screen, you'll see a QR code. That's for our Buy Me a Coffee link. If you don't fancy QR codes, you also have the same link on the video description below, as well as in the chat. So anything helps. I really appreciate people that donated already. It helped me purchase the Airbus A340 from Inibuilds. Otherwise, I might not be able to afford it. If you think about it, I spent quite some money on sceneries. Yes, they have the Embraer. They used to have the 145, if I'm not mistaken, and now they have the E-jets. So the 190 and 195, if I'm not mistaken. But they only fly with the 737 and the Dreamliner to Lisbon, so I don't really see those Embraers anymore, or at all. So this was the first of 3 airplanes I'm gonna fly. New airplanes I'm gonna fly next. So you've seen the 737 MAX is the first one. This has been a very nice support, if you want, from Flight One software. They were kind enough to allow me to access this plane, and they gave me some explanation about the future of it. And my only intention is to just dive in for now and then perform a proper review of this plane in the future. The next 2 planes, I've mentioned them a lot of times, and I've been criticized because I keep saying I can't tell you what they are. Well, that's because there's no certainty when they'll come. So let's say, oh, I'm going to review whatever, Cristiano Ronaldo's plane. Let's say it's not that. Let's just pretend that's the plane I'm going to review. And then the developer doesn't develop the plane in due time. So let's say they are developing this plane to be released in November. If I start talking about it and they have to delay it, we're speaking in vain. And even if I've been given access to that particular plane, I can't really talk about it. So what's the point, right? I prefer not to say what it is, because maybe tomorrow the developer will even quit and I've been giving them hype, or they'll just tell me, hey, listen, things have changed. We're no longer giving you access to the plane. We're just going to release it to the public and you can buy it there. Anything that like that can happen. So instead of telling you, oh, I'm going to review, I can't talk about it. It's a classic, that much I can say. One of them is a very long-awaited classic, and oh, the 767. Yeah, you're right, Misha. Yeah, you're right. That was one of the planes that landed with no gear, right? It was a Lot 767. It was broadcast worldwide. If I remember correctly, it was a Lot plane. And yeah, so back to what I was saying. So there's two classics that I've been promised access to. One is closer than the other is a very, very, very delayed. And I guarantee to you that at least one of them is very exotic. The other one can be considered exotic, but back in the day, they were like very frequent and prominent in our skies. They both still fly, although very rarely. One of them is very popular with certain, well, both of them are very popular with cargo freighters, and so I'm just waiting for the right time to talk about them, and the developers are still undergoing development, so I can't really talk much about them, but let me guarantee to you that they're very, very different from Airbuses and from Boeing 737s. They're going to be a blast to fly, and they are going to be very, very, very cool, because they belong to an era where aviation was so hands-on, you know. So pilots would need to really work with the plane instead of today that everything's automated. They are also automated. In fact, one of them is probably the first ever airplane to have very intricate automation, very intricate. But let's talk about something else, because I can't really say more. I'm so eager to fly both these planes, and it's unfortunate that they're still a bit far in the future. No, still. So we are having some very interesting winds. 87 knots crossed.
Descent to flight level 190, lot 776.
Here we go. Oh, they already given us a descent, alright. This is so... if you know what means.
Foxtrot uniform, descend to flight level 210.
Descend to flight level 210, right now, Foxtrot uniform.
If they're giving us our descent clearance, it means they already... I need to... Alright, VNAV armed, let's go. Descent. Come on. It needs to reach the top of descent. Alright, so let's call our passengers back to their seats. They never left. So, descent checklist, NTI is not required. Recall. Recall. There we go. Where is recall? Recall. Set. No warnings. Landing altitudes. Let's check our charts. First of all, let's confirm. I need to know what clearance they gave me. Let's expect BIMP 6 uniform runway 33, so exactly what we have set up. All right, let's go back to normal acceleration while we do this. Set. Let's go back to the menu. Let's go back to terminal charts, and let's go to our previous chart. So we're gonna go BIMPA. There it is, 6 uniform. So we're coming in from BIMPA all the way down here, and then turn right and right to the final approach. Nice. All right, let's lower this steering column here. Oh, Anuto. I read Naruto. Amuto. All right. So let's go back to initial reference. Let's input our approach. We're going to go for flaps 30, 144 knots as we approach. So let's input that there, done, and let's go back here. There's some glitches going on over here. Once we move around here, isn't there?
Descend to flight level 170, lot 438.
I don't know, it's just a bar that spawns there for some reason. So approach like we were doing descent checklists. So descent checklist, landing lights. Landing lights? That's below 10,000. Yeah, this checklist is messed up. I have a paid. No, I've reduced it, Mercer, already. I have a print checklist, and I have twice landing lights, and one is set above 10,000, so we only do descent checklist above the line complete. So apparently it's cloudy over Warsaw. So, all bets are out. Will I make a smooth landing, or will I board the landing? What do you guys think? People that hate me will say that I'll crash. People that love me will probably say I'll crash too. No snack for Captain? Why, Andrew? What did I do wrong? You're feisty. By the way, I'm sorry about the way the plane is described above. I know how to fix that, but I didn't notice until I started the broadcast. That's a bug on the aircraft's description. There's a little file, a written file with some letters. That's where the plane description is at. And sometimes the manufacturers, the developers, they filled that line like it said, ATC com _AC _model, but the model is correct. It's B727. I believe that's an 8. I can barely see it, but that's correct. That's the model we're flying. It's the 737. I believe the ECOW is B78M, something like that. 8 and MAX-8, so M for Max, 8 for MAX-8. Other lot airplanes going to the same approach as we are, so we need to be careful with probably a busy corridor today. You can see our Air France is written here, Air France with an S. That's because that's exactly how to pronounce Air France, because if they added a CE like in France, the country name, this could be interpreted as a Air Frankie, Francie or Air Frankie. So yeah, in many ways, sometimes you need to do this to have AI read correctly. So I believe this is like a transcription for AI to read correctly Air France instead of Air Frankie, or Francie. Which is very ironic because I think AI would know how to read France, right? So 1,000 to go, 1,900. Let's see if they can tell us a lower altitude after that. We are decelerating now. This is to keep with speed constraints. You can see the constraint there. You can actually zoom in. So there's our constraint right there. Flight level 190. That's why it's not telling us to descend just yet, but we will descend in a moment for sure. We need to keep replacing our heading. Just like with Airbuses. Hello Sergio, how are you? Thank you for coming. Still in time, right on time. So, the reason I keep turning the heading is just, like I said earlier, in case we need to take control of the plane and change direction. So let's send 120. There we go. So if I need to take control of the plane and make a different direction, or just remove my approach, change my approach, I can easily just press heading select and the plane will not move from the current direction. So I don't need to request like a change of any sort. So it's saying drag required right here on our MCP, so we just pull our speed brake out. That will allow us to decelerate the plane so you can descend at a higher rate. Unlike the Airbus, the 737 does air brake quite well. The 320 family planes, they don't decelerate that well. You really need to work your way down. In fact, you shouldn't even deploy speed brakes. For example, if you have flaps 2, deploying speed brakes will do nothing, and actually the speed brakes don't even pull out correctly. Weather is nominal. Weather is always nominal. What are you talking about, Sergio? Do you know if the weather is bad? Well, I don't have a weather radar on this plane, but I can tell you that weather is looking fine and dandy. A bit cloudy today, but nothing too serious. There was no clouds, no rain on the METAR, but we may never know. Could be. Let's take a look at the weather while we're at it. So let's go back here to our Simbrief, WX, populate from last flight, search. So this is Frankfurt, we don't want that. Blah blah blah, lots of NOTAMs for Frankfurt, and here we are. So we got VFR weather. METAR on Chopin Airport is 270 at 9, wind KVOC, temperature 09, 2.08, so it's close to raining, but it's not raining yet. QNH 1021, no significant change. So weather is quite good. A bit cloudy, but it's not even added here, so there's a few clouds at 4,200 feet before, but now currently there's no 17 minutes ago this METAR was issued, so currently there's no significant weather, so we're good. You see, this EFB is much better than that one. And this is the default Microsoft Flight Simulator one. It even has checklists. This checklist, I prefer to use better checklists. Does it have? Oh, it does. Look at that. Nice. I can use these checklists then. Let's see, descent checklist. Let's compare it with my descent checklist. And pressurization land out. Yeah, I was going for that, wasn't I? And I forgot. So let's go for our airport. There it is. So landing altitude. So what's the airport altitude? There it is, elevation 362. Let's input that on our landing field. So it's 350. We wouldn't have any problems, but still, you can only move it in 50 feet increments. So yeah, level pressurization, landing altitude set, recall. We've already done that, but recall. See the recall button here. And auto brake as required. We're going to set our auto brake to. Oh, this is a bug, by the way. So RTO should only be there until the plane feels weight on wheels is off, and then it should go back to off. So that's
Traffic.
whoop. We got traffic warning. No traffic advisory. Let's zoom in. First thing you need to do when this happens is always zoom in. We have no recommendation yet. We got no. Yeah, the plane's right up front. We're reaching 12,000 feet as required, as briefed. Let's turn this off for now. We need to handle this. Another bug. This is overlapped by the descent bracket.
Traffic.
This should be offset. I bet if I remove the VSD, yeah, there it is. So this should be offset when VSD is on. It's not. It's overlapped. So for now, the plane up ahead is just doing its thing. So what we're going to do in order to make this better for the both of us is we're going to reduce our speed to allow for separation. 1021. So Betsy is handling the comms.
Traffic.
Yeah. It's on the verge. You see, this is the threat ring. It's right on the frontier of that threat ring. So we're just decelerating right now to allow separation. We don't need to go fast anyway. Yeah, maybe some Russian drone, right? Yeah, wind's not bad. 9 knots, pretty good. So let's go to our ILS approach. So I'm thinking Zulu. I'm not sure that's the one we're gonna get, but at Zulu, we gotta need to be at 3,000 feet. Our decision height will be. We are a category C aircraft, so it's going to be 207. Let's set that up. Sorry, not here. Here. So not radio barrow. And barrow is going to be category C. It's 562. Let's see if we do get the Zulu. If not, we'll need to improvise. 562. I'm setting over here, by the way. It's hard to see. Maybe you can see better now. So 562. Come on, these knobs, they take a lifetime to turn. Come on. What's 562? Come on, I'm using the scroll wheel. It's probably a better way to do this, but I'm just not seeing it. Come on. It's gonna take forever.
Descend to flight level 170.
Descend to flight level 170, log 416.
Log 458, contact Warsaw approach 129.38. Contact Warsaw approach 129.38, log 458.
No. All right, this is a lot faster. 537, 517. Just press with the right mouse button. Oh, too much. 567. It's always defaulted at 200 feet. 6. What? 5, 6, 2. This sound, man. 6, 5, 6, 7. There we go. Finally. Now, if the guy doesn't give me Zulu, I'm gonna be pissed. All right. So as you can see, there's these blue dotted lines. These represent what the VSD is looking at, so it's narrow. If you don't want to see this thing so convoluted, remember, declutter your screen so it can look like this. I usually just leave this big one.
Descend to flight level 100, log 416.
They still didn't allow us to descend yet. Or did they? They did. Come on.
Contact Warsaw approach.
I was performing a flight level change, that's why it's so speed check, flaps 1.
776. Good evening. Flight level 120 with information November.
Lot 438, descend to 4,000 feet. Descend to 4,000 feet, lot 438. Lot 776, Warsaw approach. Good evening to you.
We still have time to descend though.
X-ray runway 22 with the Y534 transition.
QNH 1021, expect the ILS X-ray runway 33.
X-ray. God damn.
Lot 776.
So it's not this one. Zulu, Yankee, X-ray. Yeah, we need to reset. Oh, good things. Good things happen to bad people, right? So yeah, 6562. I'm not a bad person, by the way. We still need to go down to 3,000 feet, and we're still freaking high. So the reason why the plane didn't descend to the 5,000 commanded, it's because I pressed flight level change, and I was just concentrating on the speed. Whenever you do that, if you press this button here, remember to also press the vertical speed, otherwise you're going to have issues. So right now, it's not even responding, so probably a bug. Yeah, this is probably a bug. So let's try to autopilot off, back on. Let's see if now, you see now FMC speed is set, but it's not descending correctly. Something went fishy here. So we need to reset everything, basically. Still not allowing me to change the flight level. It's descending awfully slow. What's going on? Ah, there it is. Something weird. So let's set to 1,300 feet, maybe more. 2,000 feet probably. Just need to pay attention to our airspeed now.
4,000 feet, lot 776.
4,000 now. So, if you don't touch anything and you allow it to descend at its own optimal rate, I've done that and it works perfectly, but once you start messing with this, you saw that there was some bugs going on. How are you feeling today, Sergio? Feeling better? So you see we got our airspeed going up too much, so let's reduce our descent rate. There's a way to calculate this, by the way.
Descend to 4,000 feet, lot 458.
You don't need to do this by eye, by Mark 1 eyeball like I do. There are calculations to be performed. Pilots do that daily. But you know me, math is not my strength.
Lot 336, descend to 5,000 feet, QNH 1021.
Descend to 5,000 feet, QNH 1021, lot 336.
Alright, so now I'm going to switch this to my side. I'm going to remove... No, let's keep the VSD. I just need a clearer picture, decluttered. I'm going to turn on my track IR.
Speedbird 878, clear direct 1534, cross 1534, adjourned by 4,000 feet, clear ILS X-ray runway 23. Clear direct
Alright, now bring this up.
1534, adjourned by 4,000 feet.
I'm going to reduce my glare. So,
Warsaw approach, lot 416, good evening. Flight level 133, we have November.
Airframe 2 Tango Delta, clear direct 1534, cross 1534, adjourned by 4,000 feet, clear ILS X-ray runway 23. Clear direct 1534, cross 1534, adjourned by 4,000 feet, clear ILS X-ray.
so let's set our QNH for local. QNH should be
Contact Tower 118.305. Contact Tower 118.305, lot 9 kilo Mike. Lot 416, Warsaw approach, QNH 1021, expect the ILS X-ray.
1021.
534 transition.
So it's way too high.
Expect ILS X-ray runway 33 with the WA 534 transition.
102.
Lot 776, clear direct 1534, cross 1534, adjourned by 4,000 feet, cleared ILS X-ray runway 33.
Clear the ILS.
Direct 1534, cross 1534, above the
Let's
4,000
intercept the
feet, clear
localizer
ILS
first.
X-ray runway 33, lot 776.
We're overspeeding the flaps quite a bit, but we need to descend.
Information Oscar current QNH 1021.
Let's try to reduce the descent rate. We can also deploy this, the spoilers for now. Remember, if you're too high or if you need to maneuver, always reduce your speed. That will help you buy some time, and there's no need to rush things. Rushing things will lead to mistakes. These two planes, this one will probably go around. They're a bit too close. You can actually see the plane here. So he is rooting for it to go around so that we can land on it instead. Some strong wind here on the approach, 29 knots.
4,000 feet. Descend to 4,000 feet, lot 484.
Alright, we got ILS signal so we can start our approach. Yeah, it's not gonna allow me, so let's keep on localizer. Oh, it's the course, or of course. Course is 326.
5,000 feet, QNH 1021, lot 416.
I'm not used to do these things on the Airbus, so apologies. Speed check, flaps 2.
438, contact Toxie Tower 118.305.
Lower the nose, lower the speed.
305, lot 438. Speedbird 878, contact
So localizer, we got info on localizer, I believe.
Contact Tower 118.305.
Still don't have range, so that's why it won't arm correctly anyway. So we're at 4,000 feet, expecting the glide slope to come alive. Our localizer is not yet aligned either, so we're still a bit off. The ILS should be 110.5. Let's confirm 110 decimal.
Direct 1534, cross 1534, adjourned by 4,000 feet, cleared ILS X-ray runway 33.
So they're 110.3, so that's not correct. 110.3. Sorry. 110.30. How about now? Let's switch to active. All right, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. Let's go to approach mode. Single channel. A lot of things that we don't need to do on. Yeah, we're overshooting, so we're going to need to autopilot off. We're above the glide path. It's never going to intercept correctly like that, so we might as well just take control. All right, we're clear to land. Oh, that's the plane up front. So we're
2500.
2500 set. Flaps 5 set. So another plane clear to land behind us. Let's go down to VREF. That's our reference. Well, that's our reference speed for the approach. Now we are below the glide path. And it's the approach is not armed. Approach is not armed, guys. Something's not right. Something's not right because we're not following the VNAV. Speed check, flaps 20. We're way below glide path and the plane's not accelerating.
1000. Glide slow. Glide slow. Glide slow.
All right.
Glide slow. Glide slow. 500. Too low. Gear.
Gear coming down.
Too low. Gear.
Sorry about that. So flaps
Too low. Gear.
set to land.
500. Glide slow.
Airspeed, airspeed.
Why is it not accelerating?
Glide slow. 400. Glide slow.
I know.
Glide slow.
There's something wrong with the nav
Glide slow.
for the approach mode. So
Glide slow. 400. Glide slow.
I know.
Glide slow. Glide slow.
It still make it.
400. Glide slow. Glide slow. Glide
There
slow.
we go.
400.
Crisis avoided. So I'm clear to land.
300. Approaching minimum.
Completely forgot about these things here.
Roger, lot 458.
Too
Bit too
low.
high.
Flaps. 200.
I
Too low.
s-
Flaps.
No, still going flaps.
100. Too low. Flaps.
Going around. No point in forcing this. Gear up.
Don't sink.
Lot 776 going around.
300. Approaching
Too low.
minimum.
Terrain.
Too low. Terrain.
Go around. Fly runway centerline. Maintain 3,000
Too low.
feet.
Terrain.
3000.
300.
Fly runway centerline. Maintain 3,000
Too low.
feet. Lot
Terrain.
776. Lot 776.
Too low.
Contact
Terrain.
129.38. Talk to you in a minute.
Too low.
Contact
Terrain.
Warsaw approach 129.38. Lot 776. Talk to you in a minute. Warsaw approach. Lot 776. 1,300 feet.
Speedbird 878, turn left, heading 155.
It all started to go AWire once
Turn left, heading 155.
the autopilot's approach mode wasn't working. It all went nuts from there on.
Clear direct Y524 cross.
Don't turn, don't.
2,000 feet. Clear direct.
This plane, come on.
416.
1,000.
Welcome back. Continue.
Why is it descending now?
776.
Don't sink.
Lot 776, turn left,
Don't
heading
sink.
245.
Turn left, heading 245, lot 776.
Don't sink.
Turn left heading 245. You know, all of this happened because the approach mode didn't lock for some reason. It didn't update the ILS frequency. It should be an automated system. Didn't do it. So, what else? I'm flying solo. I know this is not like a big excuse, but it is. My co-pilot could easily set my MCP for go around, and I would just need to fly the plane. The MAX-8 is a tricky one. It's not a matter of being a tricky one. It's just I'm so used to flying Airbuses that sometimes these things will happen to you, and you think, "Oh, I suck at flying." But anyway, you need to understand how the plane flies. You need to understand how Boeing logic is, and I've flown Boeing for a long time. I know exactly what to expect. Maybe the MAX is a little different, but I'm pretty sure that once you get the ILS inserted on the FMC, the frequency here should have been updated, and it wasn't. That's number one. Number two, the approach, I pressed it, it armed VNAV and LNAV, but then it didn't exactly follow the VNAV. I was following the flight director, and my plane was offset. So there's something fishy about that. Before you say, "Oh, you don't know how to fly the plane," that's not the point here. There were some bugs here. There were some issues here. And I flew this plane before, and the same thing happened. So I thought back then, well, maybe I did something wrong, but now I'm pretty certain I didn't do anything wrong. Or at least I may have done some things wrong, but they were actioned or triggered by an expectation of something to happen, and it didn't. So you might say, well, you lack the skill, you shouldn't be flying it, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, guys. This is the same thing as someone that just purchased the plane and wants to fly it, and the same thing will happen to them. Oh, gear up, come on. The same thing will happen to them, and they might not know how to handle things, and if they're used to coming from the NG and this is not supposed to happen, I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to happen, then 150. Because, oh, sorry, this is airspeed. Similar knobs. That's the reason why Airbus is adamant at making the knobs look and feel different. So the knobs are not the same on the Airbuses. So let's get 230. So, number one, bugs happen here, I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, of course, but I'm pretty sure the approach mode didn't arm correctly. The ILS frequency was wrong, was 110.5 when it should be 110.3, and once we get the decimal 3, we did get glide path, we did get localizer, We press the approach mode. It did arm the approach mode. Those little diamonds, the magenta diamonds, they did arm, but then for some reason the flight director was pulling me to a side and offset. And of course, I'm missing a secondary flight crew member to help me program stuff. Even the landing lights were not correctly down because I was supposed to run the checklist, but everything was happening so fast. So again, approach checklist, altimeter set, decision height is set, approach speed set. Well, it's not set yet, but will be. So it's going to be flaps 30, 144 knots. Speed brake will be armed. It's currently down. Shouldn't be. So yet another item my co-pilot could have done, and I wasn't doing it. And auto brake, it's already set to 2. We didn't even touch, and now we're going to set the flaps for the approach as we get there. So Sergio, for the price of one, you get to see 2 approaches.
Over to tower 118.305, lot 416.
Speed at 878, turn left, heading 085.
Turn left, heading 085, speedbird 878.
So remember, boys and girls, flying solo is not easy. And everybody laughing at my missed approach, I tell you, it's not easy to do a solo. So there's 1, 2. I saw a third one somewhere over there. Planes, and look at that. 1 landing, 2, 3, 4, and there's another one up front. We can't see it just yet. Yeah, busy airport. Still can get clearance to turn left. Yeah, we're on sales. Not the type, the good type.
Turn left, heading 085, lot 776.
085, so it's going to make me intercept that ILS approach.
All aircraft be advised, information for Parnell current QNH 1021.
1021, we'll change that in a moment. Oh, it's already 1021, sorry. Not sure what it wants to do. Maybe put us behind these 2 planes on the approach here, these 2 here. One of these guys is going to go around for sure. So now we can confirm ILS 110.3. It's picking it up with the DME, of course. We are going to turn on our approach mode once we're in the approach path. Airport is over there. It's going to be a tight one, but there's a sound glitch. This could be a Windows thing, because I know Windows is glitchy with changing tasks. So there are 2 planes on our left side, very close to each other. One of them was going to go around for sure. So let's reduce our speed quite a bit. And actually, let's try to go to our VAP, or as close to that as we can, so we start dropping the flaps.
Lot 776, turn right, heading 210.
Turn right, heading 210, lot 776.
Too soon.
Speedbird 878, contact Oxy Tower 118.305.
Contact tower 118.305.
So
878.
basically, it's sending us away again. So let's 210 we go. There's another plane incoming, so probably behind that one. I really think Beyond ATC should have like a limitation, a button we can press to limit the traffic incoming, because sometimes it gets overwhelming. This could be one of those situations. You might say, well, it's not realistic. Well, beyond ATC traffic isn't realistic. It has so many issues. How's our fuel, by the way? We're still good. Still got fuel, full wing tanks and 2 tons on the center tank. So speed check flaps 1. It will not drop into the stall buffer.
776, turn left, heading 145.
145
Turn
again.
left, heading 145, lot 776.
Warsaw approach, lot 416, 900 feet.
Lot 416, welcome back. Continue.
Yeah, that was a go around.
416.
That guy that said 400, 900 feet, that's a go around. I told you guys one of those planes was going to go around. Alright, speed check flaps 5.
2500.
2500 check. That's the radio altimeter. We're flying over some level terrain.
C1 Whiskey Yankee, flight level 135, we have power on board. With C1 Whiskey Yankee, Warsaw approach, good evening, QNH 1021, expect the ILS runway 33 with the last
Flap stand. Let's stay there for a moment.
C1 expect the ILS X-ray runway 33 with the Wi-Fi 34 transition. With C1 Whiskey Yankee.
Sorry about that.
Lot 776, turn left, heading 090.
Turn left, heading 090.
Now I think we're going to go for the approach. So,
Lot 416, turn left, heading 255.
2500.
Turn left, heading 255, lot 416.
Lot 2 Echo Yankee, contact Oxytower 118.305. Over to Tower 118.305, Lot 2 Echo Yankee, have a good evening. Lot 776.
so that's yet another bug. So not sure what happened here. Was that MCAS? Was that MCAS activating? Because on the turn it started to go. So we're clear for the ILS. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Speed check gear down. Oh my god. This knob, these knobs are just take forever to turn. Let's turn on the approach. Now it lights up.
2500.
2500. Check.
Airspeed low.
There again. There we go. My god, this plane is complex. And I flew complex planes. So gears down, everything's fine and dandy. But look at the flight director. So let's go back 326 as the course for the approach. Flight director now is making me turn left, but the runway is on the right. Yeah, this is not good. All right, let's set the flaps to approach. So that should be flaps 30. There it is. Come on, nose down, what are you doing? There we go. Let's try to fly the flight director. You can see this, the runway is offset, but it wants me to fly left. Doesn't make any sense to me. So let's keep doing it, unless That's the wrong airport. No, that's the right airport. We should be flying right, so we should be doing this to intercept ILS correctly. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm sorry, flight director, but you're not doing your job right. So this is the correct path. Look at the flight director. So that magenta line there, and look at where I am. Yeah, approach mode is not working correctly on this plane. Alright, and now we should be turning in slowly to intercept the glide path and the localizer first and then the glide path. That's a rule of thumb, by the way. You can't intercept glide slope until we got localizer locked. I wonder if I did an auto land, what would happen? Alright, still far off. Gives us enough time to compensate and react. Let's level flight here. We don't need to continue climb. Alright. Second time is a charm, right? So what happened back there? When I was doing the turn, the plane entered that stall buffet where it shouldn't, but it did. And as it did, the plane started pitching up quite violently into a stall. And if you guys remember the history of the 737 MAX-8, there's something called MCAS, and that's an automated system. Look at the localizer, it's running away, see? Look at what I'm doing to pick up the localizer, and look at what the flight director is telling me to do. Bugged. I'm sorry, this is bugged. And this is what led me to overcompensate so much on the first approach. So like I was saying, MCAS system will trigger if it feels like you're entering a stall. It will start to compensate trim in such a way that it will avoid either a stall or an overspeed. Because the plane 737 MAX LEAP engines are set a little forward, more forward than the regular 737 NG, and may induce the pilot to think that it's stalling, and it will start to pitch up. The only thing you can do to stop MCAS from you know, pulling your nose all the way to the ground is turn off the trimmer. There are some trimmer knobs on the lower right of the throttle control. I wonder if that was the MCAS system, instead of nose diving, was nose pulling, so like pulling up violently. It was quite violent, you guys saw it. So, no excuses now. I'm making this approach more or less ILS, more or less visual. I made the right choice to go around on the first approach, because it really was unstable. And I still got fuel. So, and I'm performing this all the way in. Let's see if I turn on the approach mode. Let's see what happens. Nope. Not at all. Now this could be a Boeing law, not allowing to engage autopilot if you're making your approach by hand. This could be a law, I'm not sure. When I say it's a law, I'm channeling my Airbus pilot skills. It's not a law. It's not called a law in Boeing. It's a logic, but not a law.
$1,000.
1,000 check. Below glide path. Now Now the flight director seems to be working okay, but over distance, goddamn. So we got slight wind, 7 knots from the left. So it's pulling us away from the center line. We just need to compensate that. When I fly on an Airbus, I usually say, trust the flight director.
400.
But I'm not trusting it right now. Not on this plane. So let's turn off our
300. Approaching minimums.
auto throttle here.
Minimums. 200.
Let's continue.
$100. Glide slow. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Nice. Auto brake on. Reverse. Lights were not on, as usual. Betsy isn't doing her job correctly. Idle.
Lot 776, exit right at Sierra 1. Exit right at Sierra 1, lot 776.
Oaksy Tower, lot 416, ILS X-ray runway 33.
Auto brake off.
Lot 416, Oaksy Tower, continue.
Roger, lot 416.
Welcome to Warsaw. Start APU. Right.
Lot 776, contact ground 121.905, bye-bye. Ground 121.905, lot 776.
Sweet here. After landing checklist, auto brake to off, flaps retract. Speed brakes are down. Landing lights off, strobe lights to steady. Taxi lights to on, they're on. Transponder altitude off. We'll handle that later. APU starting. Terrain and weather displays. Let's turn off radar and terrain. It's already off. And the clock to stop. We didn't even start it, so I need to add a memo for the clock again. Let's taxi to the assigned
Lot
gate.
776, request taxi to company gate.
Lot 776, gate Romeo 1, 5 taxi via Sierra 102.
Gate Romeo 155 Sierra 102, lot 776.
Let's request to follow me, because there's no option to no for some reason. So the follow me is going to take a moment. And we'll just follow it. That was, that could have done, it could have gone better. Couldn't it? Follow me incoming, 24 seconds. Let's see if we can find it. Don't see any little car coming. Ah, there it is. Right up front. So the air conditioning, because we got the APU running. So there's an Embraer for lot. Wizz Air, Qatar Airways, Swiss. This is one of those streams that I feel like everything was going all right until it doesn't. So there's a definite issue with the way the needles work on this plane. There's an issue with the ILS frequency transfer to the panel. There's many small but boring issues for me. Approach mode, I changed the frequency, everything was fine and dandy until it wasn't, and then I need someone sitting on that side to handle most of the stuff that went wrong afterwards, especially doing the go-around when I just was trying to do 645 things at once. So you might say, I just lack the skill. Fine. If you can do it better, please do tell me, teach me. I'm not here pretending to know everything, because I don't. So it's taking me this way. So is this going to be one of those things where it just flips around? It's going to get me at the other side of the airport. Can I cross the runway? I should just pick. What is it doing? Oh my god.
Lot 416, Ram 47, taxi via Sierra 1 Alpha 4 Echo 1.
Yeah, there it goes.
47 via Sierra 1 Alpha 4 Echo
I
1,
knew this would be happening. I knew it. I knew it. Look at that. What a dick move. Pardon the French. Remember not to trust the follow me again. Got some brakes here. So it just vanished, didn't it? It vanished. Alright. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna pick a new parking spot. The follow me just vanished. I don't see it anywhere. Thanks GSX, always working fine. Oh my god. When things go wrong, they do go wrong. I'm gonna park to that apron there, just called GSX there. Guys, this is not a 737 MAX-8 problem. This is not an iFly problem. This is GSX being GSX. When it works, it works. When it doesn't work, it fails miserably. I'm gonna pick one of those. It's better. So, it's a nice looking airport to be sure, but GSX just hates my guts. I wonder if the guys... Andrew, I'm not trying to get to be hard on myself because I want to. I just like when things go right, and I hate when things go wrong. That's it. It's not like I'm over blaming myself. It's just that I don't like when things go wrong, and and when I feel I could have done better but couldn't, there was no way to do better, then it bothers me because I can't improve what's impossible to improve. So that's basically what I'm venting here now. So this is gate 10 here. So let's see if I can call GSX here. Apron, whatever. What's this apron number? Definitely not that. Come on. And there it is. No, this is the option I wanted. This is the option I wanted back there. Alright, let's go. Gate 10. I didn't even perform single engine taxi in. I'm so pissed. So, go to the left, to the left, to the right. Shake it up, it's alright. Probably too big of a gate, but I don't think anybody cares at this point. Stop. Parking brake set. Our APU is bleeding, and we can turn off the engine 1, engine 2. Runway turn off, lights off, taxi lights off. Lights, anti-collision lights off. Fuel pumps all off except for pump 1. Electricals off. Probes to off. Window. Let's leave this one on for now, because we're gonna run the checklists. Alright, so let's call GSX and tell it to offload the cargo and the passengers.
The boarding requested.
Alright, let's run the checklist, parking checklist. Parking brake set, taxi lights off, chocks. I think it said chocks on, I didn't notice. External power connected. Not yet, but we're gonna call it. So it's this freaking convoluted panel here. So, ground support, connect electric set, done. Parking brake set, oh sorry, external power set. Alright, and now fuel control switch is cut off. They're both cut off. Anti-collision lights are off. Flight directors, which were not helpful today, off. Passenger signs, they're already leaving their seats, but off. Yaw damper 2 off. Hydraulic pumps 2 off. We'll just leave the engine's hydraulic pressure. The engine hydraulic pumps to on. Fuel pumps to off except for, well, the APU is off, so fuel pumps off. Probe heat to off, already off, and doors are open. So, parking shutdown checklist complete. Let's not do the secure aircraft. We're done for today. It's AutoGate. It's not VGGS. It's probably. I think you can almost see the brand there. SafeGate, not AutoGate. SafeGate. Maybe AutoGate is the name of the of this particular model. All right, so not a good flight. My intentions is, whoa, what happened here? My intentions were to just have, look at that. This is the pulling mechanism. So if you need to replace this unit, this is the handle to pull it off. Nice. Very unnecessary, but nice anyway. Well, I'm a sucker for these small things. Can we move the panels? Can we? Oh, we do. Look at that. We can't even move the panels. I'm a sucker for these small things. And this is a pretty good analogy to my evaluation of the iFly 737 MAX at this stage. Remember, this plane is said to be updated soon. What do I think about it? Well, I think it's a great plane as is, but I think there's a lot of polish to be done. I'm not sure how long it will take. I read online that people were complaining this is taking a lot longer than desired. Integration with GSX is not perfect. I don't think there's any actual integration with GSX, but you know, it's working with GSX, but you still need to use the GSX own menu. Visually, the plane looks stunning. There's some nice, cool effects and textures and animations. Really cool. That's not all that we need on a good simulation. Unfortunately, I had some issues. I will admit some of the things may be due to my inexperience with this particular plane, but I think that overall the system failed in ways that I didn't want it to. I don't think it's desirable. I don't think it's reasonable. The approach not triggering the correct frequency, the LNAV and VNAV not arming to approach mode, and even in the last attempt to land, pressing the approach mode, the plane didn't react, as well as the autopilot. These could be limitations on the plane's software itself, but until things get fleshed out and trimmed, I'm going to say these are bugs. All right. So after this, of course, I'm going to review what I've done, and I'm going to read the manual. I'm going to read the checklist and normal procedures again. And if I find something that I felt like, well, this needs to be revised, and I'll do future flights correcting it, just like I'm going to do with the A340, that I have so many issues in the last flight. But to be honest, I think that currently the plane is great, but let me rephrase that. Currently, I think the plane is good, but not great. Currently, I think that iFly really needs to update it to the more conventional standards of Flight Simulator 2024, like interactive panels and all that. But above all, I think that Simbrief Navigraph integration needs to be better. I think GSX integration is not really required, but it's interesting when it happens correctly. And I honestly think that the electronic flight bag needs a very deep revision. I would even replace it altogether with a proper not an iPad, but you know, the tablet. Your wife is waiting. She's in Poland right now. Nice. Oh, you're going out and she's waiting for you. Nice. And yeah, so sound-wise, there were some bugs with the sound kit. There was some issues with the sound breaking. Not entirely sure what went on there. So final appreciation, like my current status appreciation is wait for the update. I'm sorry, I need to say this as it is. You need to wait for the update. Don't bother just now with it. When I say don't bother, doesn't mean you shouldn't buy it. No, what I mean is if you don't want problems, just wait. Will it be a great plane once these issues that I faced and others, the suggestions that I made and other stuff that maybe I didn't even find or didn't even come across? Yes. After that, it's going to be an excellent plane. I'm pretty sure of it, because I know I fly from the past, and in the past they were great. But as it is right now, this plane needs a lot of work. And it's very rare these days to do so many things wrong as I did, and I'm pretty sure that some of some of the errors were not forced. Let's just say that. So I made a few mistakes. I'm flying solo, so that doesn't help. But at the same time, I'm probably more knowledgeable of the 737 family than I am from Airbus, and I never had so many mistakes during an approach and doing a go around and all that, and all of those felt like it wasn't me. It wasn't like a me issue. But anyway, this is what I felt about it. This is my appreciation in the initial approach for this airplane. We're definitely going to return to it in the future, especially after iFly maybe launches an update for it. But it is what it is. I apologize if some things were done wrong, and maybe you guys felt like I could have done better, but I did my best. And I'm telling you, I flew this plane before. I had some of the issues I had today, I already had them. So was it pilot error? Probably, but I don't think it was. It didn't feel like it was pilot error, some of the stuff. So guys, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being here, Sergio, Andrew, Mirsha, and everybody else that watched. This was iFly 737 from Frankfurt to Poland, to Warsaw, Poland. The next flight will, of course, be out of Warsaw to somewhere else. We'll see where we're going next. Probably not taking this plane in a moment. I'm probably going to wait for that update, or wait a bit longer so that I can get better at it. But this was what happened, and I thank Flight One software for providing me access to this plane. Really appreciate your help, your support. Guys, it's been a pleasure, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
I love to fly up in the sky. Through the clouds I reach so high, climbing up to touch the light. Adventure calls me day and night. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. The stars above begin to shine, painting trails so bright and fine. Every turn brings something new, endless skies in brilliant blue. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the drum's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soared into the